Welcome to this explainer. For generations, the historical narrative of North America has pretty much started with tall ships crossing the Atlantic. But the reality buried just beneath the soil tells a completely different and honestly a far more urban story. Today, we're going to be looking at the data that completely shatters that old narrative.
Okay, let's dive right into this. We usually kick things off with what we call the empty wilderness myth. The idea that the pre-Columbian Americas were just these vast, untouched, empty expanses. But the actual reality? We are talking about thousands of years of phenomenal human achievement and a bustling, vibrant continent that was home to millions.
So let's start with Section 1, the empty wilderness myth, uncovering a forgotten past.
We all know the classic story of 1492, right? But honestly, long before Christopher Columbus even thought about sailing into the Caribbean, powerful, highly organized civilizations had already completely transformed the continent. We're talking about populations in the tens of millions who had shaped and mastered the land for literal centuries before European ships ever crossed the Atlantic.
And the sheer scale of it all is absolutely staggering. Picture enormous cities stretching for miles and miles, massive earthen monuments raised up without a single piece of modern machinery. They built these vast trade routes across incredibly harsh terrains, and they developed cultures so deeply sophisticated that early European explorers frankly just struggled to comprehend them. And yet, incredibly, so much of this is buried right under our modern farmland. Which really brings us to a central, crucial question. Why do so many people still believe America was just an empty wilderness? How do entire massive civilizations rise to such heights only to vanish from the historical record? Answering that forces us to look at the ground beneath our feet with entirely new eyes.
Moving on to Section 2, a continent of connections. A truly thriving network. You really have to picture millions of people spread across North America. And they weren't just barely surviving out there, they were thriving. They were brilliant farmers cultivating the land, engineers designing intricate structures, traders negotiating across vast distances, astronomers studying the stars, incredible artists and builders and leaders shaping really complex societies. It was a massive, incredibly diverse population, just full of specialists and innovators.
And when you look at how they adapted, their sheer ingenuity is just off the charts. Across fertile river valleys, dense forests, and scorching deserts, these societies brilliantly engineered their environments to work for them. Down in the river valleys, they raised enormous ceremonial centers. And out by the towering cliffs, they quite literally carved thriving multi-story communities directly into the solid rock face.
Plus, they definitely didn't just stay put. Highly valuable goods like shells, copper, obsidian, and turquoise were constantly moving across the continent. These trade networks stretched for thousands and thousands of miles. Just try to imagine the complex logistics required to move heavy copper or super fragile turquoise across jagged mountain ranges on foot centuries and centuries ago.
Because these civilizations were entirely interconnected. They were exchanging complex ideas, sharing the latest agricultural tech, and working together to adapt to changing climates. It was a massive, living, breathing network that was continuously reshaping the continent. Basically, it was a giant web that archaeologists are still trying to untangle today.
Which brings us to Section 3, the missing metropolis, a completely forgotten city.
Now, when we think of great medieval cities, our minds almost always jump straight to Europe, right? But here is a massive paradigm shift for you. Ancient American cities directly rivaled the size of Europe's largest medieval capitals, like London or Paris. The level of city planning happening right here in North America was literally on a global scale.
Tens of thousands of people. Just wrap your head around that for a second. One single city alone housed a population that large centuries before most famous American cities were even a thought. It was a bustling metropolis, completely teeming with trade and culture. And yet, wild as it sounds, today most people have never even heard of it.
So where exactly is this forgotten marvel hiding? Well, you have to look right near the mighty Mississippi River. Beneath these peaceful, quiet green fields lies one of the absolute greatest archaeological discoveries in North American history. It's like a sleeping giant poised to completely rewrite everything we think we know about the pre-Columbian world.
And that leaves us with one seriously staggering question. How could a massive metropolis, one that rivaled the capitals of Europe, simply vanish from popular memory? Confronting this lost history is really just the first step. The real thrill here is realizing that its story is only just beginning. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning the history right beneath your feet.